sleeping in a trench for the first time, you know, is quite an experience. It's a grave. That's what it is. Your right elbow is earth. Your left elbow is earth. Your head is against earth and your feet are touching the earth. You're in that trench. It's 3 or 4 feet ahead above you. I had mild claustrophobia. I'd have to sit up every so often. My head would be above the ground. Just to shake off this grave-like experience. That's the first night I remember. There was no shelling, but we'd been told to dig a hole, so we all dug a hole for ourselves. It was 2 or 3 days before we went into an area that had been fought over back and forth a couple of times, and the dead Germans and dead Canadian soldiers were lying, as we found in the morning. They were all over the landscape. All of them had been there during this very hot weather, so they're all in a state of decay and bloated and black, and the stench was awful. The stench was terrible. We were allowed to bury the Germans without any ceremony. But we had to have a padre around to bury the Canadians. So it wasn't until late that afternoon before we got to burying, well, mid-afternoon before we got to burying the Canadians with a padre. For 2 reasons. One, they wanted to collect and send to the right spot. They accumulated dog tags, map references of where they were buried so they could be picked up. And I suppose there was a sense of obligation that they should have a Christian burial if they were Christians. And it was pretty perfunctory, believe me, but because there was no coffins or anything, you just dumped in the hole and covered over with earth.